Hey, welcome back. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unexplained Archive. You know, I've lived in this old Brooklyn apartment for about 5 years now, and every so often, especially on these quiet, windy nights, the building settles. It groans, the pipes knock, and sometimes, just sometimes, if I'm half asleep on the couch, it sounds almost like a voice. A whisper in the walls. It's just the city, of course. My rational, engineer's mind knows that. But it makes me wonder, what if you heard that whisper, and it answered back? What if the whispers grew into a voice that wasn't yours, wasn't your family's, and claimed the walls of your own home? That's not a hypothetical for one family in North London. For them, it was a terrifying reality. This is Episode 1, The Whispers in the Walls, the Enfield Poltergeist's secret recordings. The story begins, as so many of these stories do, in a very ordinary place. 284 Green Street, Enfield, England. August 1977. A single mother, Peggy Hodgson, and her 4 children, Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy. The first signs were classic poltergeist fare, knocking sounds, furniture shifting on its own, small toys flying across the room. The police were even called. One officer, according to reports, saw a chair slide unassisted across the floor. He said it was the most frightening thing he'd ever seen. But it was when the voice started that the case exploded into the public consciousness. It was a rasping, guttural growl, and it was coming from the throat of 11-year-old Janet Hodgson. It claimed to be Bill Wilkins, an old man who had died in the house years before. This voice, this entity, would hold conversations with investigators, hurling insults, making claims, and describing its own death in gruesome detail. And some of those conversations were captured on tape. Now, I'm an engineer. My world is built on measurable data, on repeatable results. When I first read about the Enfield case, my instinct was profound skepticism. Hoax. It had to be. Children, especially in a stressful, perhaps attention-starved environment, can be incredibly creative. And the idea of a ghost speaking through a little girl? It feels like something straight out of a horror movie. But then you listen to the recordings, or, at least, the snippets that are publicly available. There's one, a famous one, where investigator Maurice Gross is talking to the entity through Janet. The voice is chilling. It's low, gravelly, straining. It doesn't sound like a child doing a voice. It sounds old, tired, and angry. Gross asks, "How did you die?" And the voice rasps back, detailing a hemorrhage, a fall in a chair downstairs. The specificity is jarring. As a storyteller, I'm captivated. As an engineer, I'm deeply troubled. How do you explain that? A young girl from a working-class family, expertly fabricating the medical details of a stranger's death in a voice that seems to belong to a different body entirely? This is where we have to talk about the secret recordings. The official investigation, led by the Society for Psychical Research, produced hours of audio. But there are whispers, see, there's that word again, of other recordings. Private tapes made by investigators during off hours, or on equipment not officially logged. Stories of sessions where the voice said things so disturbing, so legally compromising, or so personally cruel to those in the room, that they were deemed unfit for public release. One persistent rumor is of a recording where the entity is asked about the nature of its existence, and it responds not with the persona of Bill Wilkins, but with something else entirely. Something that claims to be a collective, a presence that feeds on fear and familial tension. If such a tape exists, it shifts the entire narrative from a simple ghost story to something far more complex and psychologically unsettling. And that's the crossroads where this case permanently lives for me. On one path, you have the compelling, tangible evidence. The recordings, the sworn testimony of police officers and journalists, the photographic evidence of levitation that remains hotly debated. On the other path, you have the undeniable fact that the Hodgson children, particularly Janet, were caught faking phenomena on several occasions. They admitted to it. To a skeptic, this is the smoking gun. Case closed. But to those who lean into the mystery, the faking is almost more interesting. Why would you fake a ghost voice if you already had a real one? Was it the pressure of constant scrutiny? Was the real phenomenon intermittent and the desire to keep the attention or to fulfill the expectations of the adults around them too strong? Or, in a darker twist, was the faking encouraged or even instigated by the very force they claim to be battling? A poltergeist phenomenon is often linked to a living person, a focal point, usually an adolescent under stress. It's been called spontaneous psychokinesis, a mind, unbeknownst to itself, manifesting its turmoil physically. Could Janet have been both the source and the victim? Sitting here in my apartment in New York, a world away from that London suburb in the 70s, I find my perspective shaped by my own life. I grew up in Bangladesh, in a culture rich with stories of jinn and spirits, where the line between the physical and the unseen is often spoken of as very thin. Then I moved into the world of engineering and entrepreneurship, a world of logic, code, and hard results. The Enfield case speaks to both sides of me. It refuses to be solved. It's a perfect, messy archive of the unexplained. The secret recordings, whether they exist or not, represent the human desire to find a definitive answer, a hidden key that will unlock the truth. We want the tape that proves it, or the tape that debunks it, once and for all. But maybe the real takeaway isn't about proof. Maybe it's about the story itself and what it reveals about us. A family, under immense stress, becomes the center of a terrifying, bizarre universe. Investigators, desperate for a breakthrough, pour their lives into it. The media sensationalizes it. And we, the audience, we're still talking about it nearly 50 years later. We're still listening to those raspy, awful whispers on scratchy tapes, trying to decide, is it the voice of a dead man? Is it the unconscious cry of a living girl? Or is it simply the sound of a mystery echoing through time, refusing to be silenced? The walls of 284 Green Street are quiet now. The Hodgson family moved on. But those recordings, official and rumored, preserve a moment of profound ambiguity. They ask us a very uncomfortable question. How would we react if the whispers in our own walls started talking back? And if they did, would we ever truly believe what they had to say? Thank you for listening to this first dive into the unexplained archive. If this story stuck with you, if it made you look at your own home a little differently tonight, consider sharing the episode with someone who loves a good mystery. For more deep dives into the shadows of history and the corners of the unexplained, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This is Abnul J. Farabi. This podcast is produced by Light Knot Studios. Visit us at https://www.lightknotstudios.com. Until next time, keep wondering.